In modern times, driving is not only a necessity for many, but merely a part of life. One part of driving is obviously getting a car, and Yorkton has a long tradition of having some of the greatest dealerships in Saskatchewan. I'm Hayden DeGrow, and I'm the Culture and Heritage Specialist for the City of Yorkton. I love learning history, and teaching people about Yorkton's past is a proud part of my job. Join me as I highlight fascinating people, places, and events from Yorkton's history and take you where these places can be found today. This is Yorkton Retold. Today, every major town and city in Canada has at least one car dealership. Selling any one of the major builders' many models, dealerships like Royal Ford and Royal Honda, which we see here, offer a commercial anchor for any town. Here in Yorkton, dealerships have been around a significant amount of time. In this video, I'll take a brief look into the history of each dealership individually. We'll of course start with the oldest dealership in Yorkton and keep moving along. The pioneering dealership in Yorkton would be started out by one of the equally pioneering businessmen in Yorkton, Harry Bronfman. Among his many other businesses, Bronfman partnered up with one of the first Canadian motor companies, Great Dort Motors. A partner of Dort Motors in Michigan, Great Dort manufactured three different styles of cars: a sedan, a coupe, and a touring car. As we can see on this photo of what 3rd Avenue South looked like in the 1920s, Bronfman's business hub was in full swing, with the Great Dort dealership located along this side of the street. Sadly, the company did not last long, and Bronfman could not keep his dealership open. Great Dort closed up shop in 1925, with Yorkton's first dealership quickly following suit. It is clear today to see that the first dealership in Yorkton, and frankly all of its neighbors, are long gone. However, the next dealership to open in Yorkton was not too far away, and interestingly, it's still technically around. That long empty building in the distance is the former home of Evergreen Motors. As major car builders began combining themselves into bigger and bigger companies, Chrysler Motors, who owned the brands Plymouth and Fargo, as well as its namesake brand, opened Evergreen Motors in Yorkton. This company, selling Chrysler's luxury cars, the low-cost Plymouth vehicles, and Fargo's trucks, opened in 1941 as a simple garage, but began not only fixing cars, but selling them. The photos we see here take place in the 1950s and the 1960s, where neon signs were all the rage to gain attention for companies. Later on, Fargo trucks gave way to Dodge Motors, who adopted the trucks Fargo once built. Eventually, Evergreen Motors closed up shop in the 1970s, with their building being turned into, of all things, a restaurant. Later on, Chrysler opened up a new dealership in Yorkton, named Yorkton Dodge. This new iteration remains to this day. While Evergreen Motors was flourishing on 4th Avenue, there was a new dealership rising up and would eventually merge with Evergreen. Located in the building we see before us, that new company, known as Jeep, would leave a legacy all its own in Yorkton. The Jeep Company was a spawn of the Second World War, where road vehicles were used in abundance for the very first time. The Jeep, officially called the Willys Jeep, was a simple, easy to build, easy to fix vehicle used all over by the Allied forces. While their concept was copied all over the world, the Willys Jeep was the one everyone remembers as the very first SUV. When the hostilities ended, the Jeep became a very popular Army surplus vehicle across North America. In 1953, Willys was bought out by Chrysler Motors, and they opened up a dealership in Yorkton right where this Philippine store is seen today. The dealership had a repair garage for their Jeeps and had added in the large lot to the south to display their vehicles. Soon after, Kaiser began focusing solely on the Jeep, and also moved the dealership to the eastern edge of Yorkton, which was at the time along 6th Avenue. Kaiser itself was bought up by the American Motors Corporation, or AMC, in 1970. In 1987, AMC itself was bought out by the Chrysler Corporation, bringing the control of the Jeep into their hands. Yorkton Dodge, a completely separate dealership for Chrysler products, was opened in the 1980s and today still sells Jeeps as well as a lot more, including their eponymous brand as well as their parent company's main badge. Moving on to the original car company in North America, we come to Ford. This impressive property, the largest dealership in Yorkton, belongs to one group of people, Terry Yortinsky and his family. This family business has been around for longer than any other current dealership in Yorkton. The business has its roots with Russell Carnduff, who opened up his Carnduff Motors on the corner of Broadway and First in 1949. At first, the business only sold Mercury vehicles, which was a branch of the Ford Motor Company. Russell later expanded Carnduff Motors to sell Ford vehicles as well, and opened up a new dealership on the corner of Broadway and 6th. This remained Carnduff Motors until 1985, when the Yortinsky family bought it themselves. The Yortinskys have had their roots not in Yorkton, but in a community north of the city, Kenora. There, in 1947, Nestor and Peter Yortinsky, Terry's father and uncle respectively, officially opened a dealership on Kenora's Main Street, known as Central Motors. Central Motors, however, wasn't originally a Ford dealership. It kick-started as a Dodge and J.I. Case dealership. Eventually, this would change to GM, Pontiac, Buick, and Massey Harris. Eventually, the Yortinsky family sold Central Motors, leaving it in Kenora. It remained a staple of the community until 2016. When the Yortinsky family bought Carnduff Motors, it was renamed Royal Ford and continued to sell Ford vehicles. As the years went on, Ford acquired more and more brands, including Lincoln and Mercury, which were also sold at the dealership. In 1997, the dealership was renovated to bring it up to modern standards of Ford dealerships. Eventually, though, the lot they were located on was beginning to show its limitations, and so in 2011, the dealership moved its entire operations to a brand new facility on Jacob Avenue, one where there is plenty of room to grow and to expand. Around the same time, the Japanese car company Honda was seeking to jump into the car market in Yorkton, and Terry Yortinsky was more than happy to open up a second dealership next to his Ford business to sell those Hondas. Named simply as Royal Honda, the two companies work together in harmony as one of the largest car dealerships in Saskatchewan. Today's main rival to Royal Ford is located not just in one big lot, but across many different locations. Key Auto Group is a collection of dealerships that sell vehicles from a variety of brands and have become a major success story in Yorkton. General Motors, the largest car manufacturer in North America, has had a massive series of different brands under their control. These include the now defunct Saturn, Oldsmobile, Hummer, and Pontiac, and the current brands of Buick, Cadillac, Chevrolet, and GMC. Key Auto started off in Yorkton in 1990 as Key Chevrolet Oldsmobile Cadillac, and was originally a dealership known as Watson Chevrolet. The business occupied a newly built location on the eastern outskirts of the city, the same one it occupies today. The company, founded by Evan Yortinsky, who was the brother of founder of Royal Ford, Terry Yortinsky, Key Ford was once accompanied by another GM dealer, David Bedman. Bedman's dealership sold other brands of the GM family than Key Chevrolet, including Pontiac, Buick, and GMC. In 2010, Bedman's dealership merged with Key Chevrolet, becoming the current dealership everyone knows today. But it's not just General Motors products that Key Auto Group has sold. In 2015, the company bought up the Kia dealership in Yorkton. Kia is a massive South Korean manufacturer and has been building cars since 1944. In Yorkton, the company first established itself in 2011 when Capital Automotive Group, a Regina-based car selling company, opened up on Broadway Street between 6th and 7th Avenues. The location was previously occupied by Mackenzie Sales and Leasing, a used car dealership. Capital Kia, later renamed Key Yorkton Kia, was later moved to a space right beside Key Chevrolet to make it easier to communicate with the businesses. The building Kia currently occupies in Yorkton was once the home of hardware store Peavey Mart. Around the time of Kia's arrival on Broadway, Key Chevrolet bought the building to use it as an auto body shop. Kia moved in but retained the body shop. This led Key Auto to be seeking new and further diversity for its company. One of the ways that Key Auto spread itself was partnering with the popular automotive accessory company, Cabot. The company is best known for creating truck bed toppers, tonneau covers, mats, seat covers, mud flaps, and more for trucks, SUVs, and other sport vehicles. Cabot, founded in 1977, has been known not only for its accessories but also its popular commercials featuring its bulldog mascot, Cap. Key Auto Group's founding of Yorkton's location has become a popular caterer to the farmers across the region. One of the newest dealerships in Yorkton, and one of the first additions to Key Auto Group, Yorkton Toyota here sold the Japanese company's popular models. Opening up in 2006, Everartuski wanted it to follow the tradition and to name it Key Toyota. However, Toyota wasn't letting him do that. This is because by the time of the dealership's opening, the trend of giving unique names to small local dealerships was starting to wane off. They were just supposed to name it after their hometown. Despite the name disputes, Yorkton Toyota continues to sell vehicles very successfully. Nissan, another Japanese powerhouse in the automotive world, arrived in Yorkton in 1976. It's one of the first overseas car manufacturers to enter Yorkton's market. For the first 15 years of the dealership's existence, they occupied a small area along Highway 10 in Yorkton's eastern outskirts. In 1991, they constructed the new dealership that we see here today. The last independent new car dealership in Yorkton was opened in 2010 and is known as Yorkton Hyundai. Hyundai, another South Korean manufacturing powerhouse, has sold vehicles since the 1960s and has been known worldwide for its high quality and high luxury. When the company decided to move into Yorkton, they bought the property once owned by David Bedman GMC and began selling their vehicles to locals. Today, Yorkton Hyundai is one of the most popular dealerships in town. Vehicles have been a dominant part of Yorkton businesses since the 1920s. From carrying products to being a business unto themselves, the simple automobile is a major part of Yorkton commerce and stands today as the focus of some of the city's biggest and most famous businesses. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. See you next time, History Buffs.